Nopuko Air Coaster is the tallest, fastest, and longest roller coaster at the Lost Island theme park. This is a Vekoma suspended looping coaster, or SLC. In general, these rides are notoriously awful, but for the most part, Nopuko is an enjoyable experience. But this ride features arguably the single worst moment of any coaster if you're seated in the front row.
Oh my god!
Does this moment ruin the entire ride? Find out in this review. This coaster began its life in South Africa. It opened in 1998 as Cobra at Ratanga Junction. When the park closed in 2018, Cobra was purchased by the Lost Island Water Park in Waterloo, Iowa. This park was planning an all-new theme park down the street named Lost Island Theme Park. The coaster opened with the park in June of 2022. It was renamed Nopuko Air Coaster and was placed in the Udara Air Zone as the area's anchor attraction. The ride's premise is that you're on a flying machine from a famous inventor. There's no theming along the queue or course, but the attraction looks great. It features a fresh blue and purple paint scheme. It looks far better than the faded yellow and black colors it sported in its final days in South Africa. I did not see many trip reports from Ratanga Junction through the years, but the few enthusiasts who rode Cobra said it was a headbanger like most SLCs. It was a combination of some questionable track work and bulky over-the-shoulder restraints. I've heard reports the park owners were unaware how rough SLCs were when they acquired Cobra. Fortunately, Lost Island gave the ride a refurbishment. The primary thing they did to improve the experience was purchasing 2 new trains from Vekoma. These replaced the old harnesses with vest restraints. Several older SLCs have done this, and it makes a huge difference. One of the most prominent examples is Riddler Revenge at Six Flags New England. The vests snugly contour to your upper body, but they stop at your neck. This means you're no longer bashing your head against the restraint continuously. This is the fatal flaw in most SLCs. I've also heard rumors that Lost Island had some work done on the track. This was not a full retrack like Great Nor'easter at Maurice Piers. Rather, the pre-existing track pieces were refurbed before being reassembled. The end result is an experience that in general is more comfortable than your average SLC. Towards the back, the experience will jostle you about, but it's tolerable with those vest restraints. In front, most of the coaster is decently smooth. However, there is one moment that is spectacularly awful. I don't know what happened to the rollover during the relocation, but is the single most painful moment of any coaster.
Oh my god!
It's fine in the back, but there's a pothole up front that tries to give you a concussion. And this moment is so bad that I actually recommend avoiding the front row at all costs, even if you have to wait extra. It is so brutal that the park actually closed off the front row at the start of my visit, and warned anyone sitting there just how rough it was. We were morbidly curious and had to try it, but nothing can prepare you for just how bad that moment is. I will never ride this coaster again in the front row unless something is done. Fortunately, when you reach the station, you are free to select any row you'd like. Stay far, far away from the front. You will thank me later. In general, this coaster is usually a walk-on. It is capable of pretty good capacity, as each train accommodates up to 20 riders. There are 2 trains, each with 10 rows of 2. Although the park usually only runs 1 train, which is justifiable given the park's low attendance. Nopuko was tricky to get on though. It had a lot of downtime. It was closed for half of our visit, and I had a friend who visited a few weeks before us, and Nopuko was closed all day. Uptime was a general issue for us for our entire day at Lost Island. Many rides opened late and kept on breaking down. SLCs are usually fairly reliable attractions, so it was a bit surprising to see. With Nopuko, it would open for a handful of cycles, and then it would go down, sending several empty trains before it would reopen. This cycle repeated itself a few times throughout the day, so we had to keep on scurrying over there whenever we saw a loaded train. Once checked, you roll out of the station and climb the 109-foot, or 33-meter tall lift hill. The ascent is slow and silent. You get a nice view of the park off to your left. And as with most SLCs, there's no catwalk beneath you, so you get a great sense of height if you look down. Once at the top, you have a twisting plunge to the right. The drop itself has no notable force, but the pullout has solid speed and positive Gs, and the transition is thankfully smooth. But then comes the rollover. This is a double inversion. In most rows, it's fun. The ascent continues the positive Gs. The exit also has nice Gs, and those in back are sharply snapped downwards. But this element is terrible in the front row. There's a nasty pothole between the two inversions. It violently jolts the train, which causes riders to viciously slam their head backwards against the seat back. I was warned about this moment specifically by many enthusiasts, and I still could not do anything to prevent it. Advil was 100% necessary after my front row ride. I legitimately had a throbbing headache. Next is a wave turn. No airtime, but the sideways banking is a fun visual. Then the subsequent valley offers another dose of positive Gs. Then comes the Sidewinder. It starts off with solid Gs, but this usually is one of the jerkiest moments of any SLC because the train does start to slow down at the apex, but this one isn't too bad. You then have a spiral and have one of my favorite near misses of any coaster. The entry into the double inline twist narrowly avoids the prior Sidewinder. It really looks like you'll lose your feet. Then those inline twists are my favorite inversions of the ride. They are fast and dizzying. The train is really pulled through them. You then round a mundane turn. At this point, most SLCs just jump right up into the brake run. No Puko has more to it as it has a bonus helix. I much prefer this finale. It has better speed and it tracks smoothly even on the rough SLCs. You then hit the brakes and abruptly come to a stop, so you want to brace yourself there. You then return to the station, ending the 2,510 foot or 765 meter long coaster. So what would I rate No Puko? This is a bit tricky. In the front row, this ride easily earns a 1 out of 10. That rollover is atrocious. It hurts so bad that it's impossible to enjoy the rest of the ride. My head was throbbing in pain. But this coaster is enjoyable further back in the train. In those seats, it earns a 6 out of 10. The ride is tolerable there, allowing you to enjoy the fast-paced and intense layout. In those rear rows, this is one of the better SLCs. The only ones I prefer are the ones with the new track and vest restraints. In the front row, I think this is the second worst SLC. There is no way to brace for the rollover, which is why it's so problematic. The park really needs to do something about this pothole. It could seriously injure someone with how it currently rides. Vekoma has shown they can successfully retrack an SLC. They don't have to do the entire ride, just this part. It really needs it. So those are my thoughts on No Puko Air Coaster at the Lost Island theme park. What are your thoughts about this coaster? If you also suffered through that front row and also lived to tell the tale, let me know what you think down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.